Okay, now we're going to start some trig identities. Okay, so this is called the angle sum identity, and I think that we're doing a sine and maybe cosine one today. I can't remember if I have a tangent on here or not, but if we do, I'll do that one. You will have a note sheet. On the note sheet, it gives you this formula, and there's a heading that says the angle sum identities. And it says that if you have sine of one angle plus another angle, and we're just going to call the first angle A, the second angle B, this is the identity. Or how you simplify it, kind of like factoring, except for this is called an identity. You take sine of the first angle, you multiply it by cosine of the second angle. So here's your first, here's your second. Then you're going to, so if this is add, this is add. If this were subtract, if this would have been subtract, this would be subtract. But this is add right here because in the parentheses a minute ago I had an add. So add cosine of A times the sine of B. Notice they're reversed. Here's sine A, here's sine B. Here's cosine B, here's cosine A. Those are opposites. And what we're looking for our two angles are two angles that exist on the unit circle, because you see that exact value, you're not going to use your calculator on this. So we have to think about this, 9 pi 12ths. We have to think of two angles that add together to be 19, but could be simplified. So let's see. So if I did 15 pi 12ths, well, 15 and 12 both have a 3 in common. When you simplify that, oh, 5 pi 4ths. Cool. All right, so 15 pi 12ths plus 15 plus 4 is 19 plus 4 pi 12ths. Well, that reduces further. 15 over 12, if you divide each, 15 over 12 is 5 times 3, 4 times 3. So that's going to be 5 pi 4ths plus, these both have a 4 in common. 4 divided 4 is 1, so 1 pi. And 12 divided 4 is 3. Now look at what we have. We have two angles that exist on the unit circle. 5 pi 4ths is down here. And the cosine value is, they're both negative root 2 over 2. And then we have pi thirds. And right up there, you have positive 1/2 for cosine and root 3 over 2. So here's your pi thirds. So now this is what we're going to do. I'm going to rewrite this. Sine of 5 pi 4ths plus pi thirds. Those two add together to still be 19 pi 12ths. We have not changed this value. We've just changed its costume. And now we're going to use this formula. So here's our A. Here's our B. So it says sine of A. So sine of 5 pi 4ths times cosine of B, pi thirds. Then since this is add, we're going to add cosine of A times sine of B. All right, now we use the unit circle. Sine of 5 pi 4ths, this thing right here is negative root 2 over 2. This means multiply, so we're going to multiply. Cosine of pi thirds is 1/2. Well, negative root 2 times negative root 2 over 2 times positive 1/2 is negative root 2 over 4. And now we've got a plus sign. Cosine of 5 pi 4ths is also negative root 2 over 2. Sine of pi thirds is root 3 over 2. Well, negative root 2 times positive root 3 is negative root 6, and 2 times 2 is 4. So your final answer, and let me go ahead and erase some stuff. And I'll change the ink color. So sine of 19, this is what your final answer would look like. Sine of 19 pi 12 equals, they both have the same denominator, so we can put that over 4, is negative root 2 subtract root 6, or plus negative root 6. And that's the form that, but you would have to show all of this work. Okay, now we have the cosine angle sum identity. So on your note sheet, you would see cosine of one angle plus or minus another angle. And this is very key. Whatever order, if this is a plus sign, look at, this will be the opposite sign. So if this is add, this part is subtract. If this part is subtract, this will be add. And then notice, this is just cosine A times cosine B, sine A, sine B. So we have to get 7/12 broken down into two fractions that exist on the unit circle. Well, this should be pretty easy because 3 pi 12 plus 4 pi 12 both break down more. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 12 4 times, so that's pi fourths. So cosine, we have pi fourths, and then 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 12, so now we have pi thirds. Well, here's your A and your B. And now let's look at the formula. It's cosine of this times cosine of this. So cosine pi fourths times cosine pi thirds. Now because this is a plus sign right here, this, when we expand it out with identity, this will now be a subtract sign. And now we have sine of the A, which is pi fourths, and sine of B, which is pi thirds, which is cool because none of these are negative signs. So I'm going to, so at pi fourths, these are both root 2 over 2, positive, and at pi thirds, cosine is 1/2, sine is root 3 over 2. Now you just use your unit circle to substitute. Cosine of pi fourths is positive root 2 over 2. Cosine of pi thirds is 1/2. And then there's a subtract sign. And then sine of pi fourths is also positive root 2 over 2. And sine of pi thirds is root 3 over 2. It almost looks identical. So your final answer is going to be cosine back at the original 7 pi 12 is equal to, notice over here, this 2 times 2 is 4. Over here, 2 times 2 is 4. So we know they all share the denominator 4. Root 2 times 1 is root 2. Subtract root 2 times 3 is root 6. The last one was negative 2 subtract root 6 over 4. This is positive root 2 subtract 6 over 4. So notice, anytime it's a pi 12, you're going to have some version of this. You might have negative root 6 first, plus you might have positive root 6, subtract root 2, negative root 6, negative root 2. But any of the pi 12s on this sine or cosine angle sum identity, it will, all of the answers will look very much like that. And we're probably going to do a tangent one next week. I did not put one on today's, so that will be it for the angle sum identity.